I heard you're from Venezuela.
Yes, I'm come from Venezuela.
And you don't agree with any of these people here, right?
No, I'm not agree. I'm agree with Trump because Trump helped to my country obtain the libertad. We're happy.
Or in Margarita Island, or in the Llanos. How do the people in the Llanos feel about that?
Are you living?
Asking you
No, I'm asking you.
Have you been to Venezuela? Have you been to Venezuela?
I lived for the last 21 years in
but-
Venezuela with a communist and socialist government.
Like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bells to get notifications. Anytime I go live, I make a video. I know y'all enjoying the new set. Let's get into this. Let's talk about this fool. Now here's him getting the perp walk that he deserves. Roll the clip.
Cuando aparece sentado con todos los agentes es una clara imagen de sometimiento.
Porque estamos viendo, Sandro, no perdamos de vista esta imagen, estamos viendo efectivamente a Nicolás Maduro.
All right, pause it. Andale, arrestado, señor. ¿Cuántos años prison time? I don't know what would be the highest number. Ocho. I don't know. I don't know my Spanish. 23, ocho y tres. Maybe it's ochento. I don't know Spanish. Check out my Officer Tatum Spanish channel, and I'll be able to say all that in Spanish over there. All right, let's get to some more stuff. We got another clip of Maduro and his wife pleading not guilty. Roll the clip.
All of this stuff from the judge translated to him by an off-screen translator to ensure that he understood. He said he did. Interestingly, he said after the judge read him a version of Miranda rights and included the fact that he had the right to potentially be released on bail, Maduro said he was unaware of those rights. And it struck me that he's coming from a very different legal system because it seemed like he had never even conjured the notion that he's entitled to an attorney, he may be able to apply for bail, and he has the right to use, to stay silent. He has the right that none of the material that he has said outside the purview of counsel necessarily has to come in. So it was interesting to see him sort of taking that in a system very different from the one I'm sure he's used to.
Why they on TV lying? They I swear in America, they act like these other leaders of these countries are like feeble individuals that don't have access to the internet. Man, you knew you had a bounty on your head. You knew we were coming to get you. You didn't Google Miranda rights. You didn't consult an attorney. People that speak Spanish are attorneys too. I mean, they acting like this dude is like in a cave somewhere and he don't know. I didn't know I had rights in the man. You didn't consult with an attorney. What your rights are in the United States of America when we come bust you. You had a bounty on your head. You thought we were playing with you? All you got to do is go to tatumstore.com, and get you some of this merch. Don't mess with the USA. We got a bunch of new products that we're going to add, too. We got another one that says, don't F with us, with a USA flag. We're producing that right now. But if you want some merch, just jump on there, grab some, put in. I think we'll post a discount code in the description section where you can get 20% off. So go on, check it out. You can check out some of the other merch that we got. You go to our best sellers. If you still want some of the Charlie Kirk's merch, you could go on. We have some Charlie Kirk Freedom hats, and we have some of the Charlie Kirk merch that we still have in stock. You can buy that and be supportive of our brother, Charlie Kirk. We're here from a Delta Force, former Delta operator, on kind of the strategic measures that they took to do this incredible operation to arrest them with no incident. They didn't have to kill nobody. If I was in charge, people would be dead. They didn't have to kill Maduro. All right, roll the clip.
It's really remarkable what your old unit did here. I think not only was it daring, it may have been the riskiest mission since the killing of bin Laden back in 2011. And I'm struck by the flawless execution. Walk us through it.
Well, I'll tell you this, something like this would take months to kind of plan, get organized. But once the guys figure this out, there's no stopping them. It's not the guys that always have the issues. It's always the aviation that has issues. Politicians have issues. So the fact that something like this could come together at all levels just makes me happy for the guys that got to do the mission.
Yeah, you're right. We are learning that the Delta Force guys have been practicing on a mock house of Maduro's compound for months, going back to August, every time doing it again and again, faster and faster. But you're right, the 160th Air Regiment, the Night Stalkers, were the ride that the Delta Force guys got in there, and really the coordination between both the CIA intel, the Night Stalkers bringing in the Delta Force guys, and then once the Delta guys got on the ground, their ability to get quickly in that house, track down Maduro and his wife, get him, that's the sort of stuff that even just the tiniest detail goes wrong, it can really end up in a bad situation.
All those tiny details were gone over, polished out, so there was no tiny details that could stop anything that these guys did.
And let me just give a quick shout out to Delta. When I was on the SWAT team in Tucson, we trained with those guys, and it's unbelievable. And we thought that our SWAT team was squared away, and we were. But compared to the Delta, those Delta unit guys, it wasn't even close. Literally, the training was out of control. I couldn't even believe those guys could shoot and make decisions that quickly. And before I got on the SWAT team, our guys used to tell the story of how we played kind of like a hide and seek with the Delta Force, and they came and killed everybody in like a few seconds. Because they come after us and then we come after them. Like, when they came after us, they killed all of us in like a couple seconds, So those guys are legit, man. So keep messing around, Cuba, Colombia. You want your country gone? You want your leader to be in chains? We ain't around with y'all. That's why I couldn't be the president. I couldn't be the president. Like, I'd probably be committing all kind of war crimes. I mean, the first time he get on TV, oh, is that what you want? Come on, line them up. Get the jet going. Get the jet going. I'm going to come down there, and I'm going to get on you. No homo. I'm going to get on you. All right, let's get to the next thing I wanted to show. I want to really talk about how stupid Americans are. Because I don't understand how folk in this country more upset about what's happening in Venezuela than Venezuelans. Not just Venezuelans there in Venezuela, but Venezuelans all over the world. How y'all more upset than they are? Come on, let's roll the clip. This young man right here gave a really good synopsis. That's why I want to use this video to kind of describe why you see so many people celebrating the way they are, and they're not even in Venezuela. Roll the clip.
Why are so many Americans angry about Maduro's capture if so many Venezuelans are celebrating it? Well, have you noticed that a lot of the celebrations you're seeing are actually from Venezuelans outside of Venezuela? This is in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This is in Chile. This is in Spain, Madrid. And the reason for that is kind of dark, because since 2014, which is roughly when Maduro came into power, Venezuela has experienced one of the largest migration exoduses in recent history. Just imagine losing over 20% of your entire population. Since 2014, nearly 8 million people have left, making it one of the largest displacement crises in the world. And there is a fair reason why. Post 2014, the country's inflation spiked over 1.3 million %. And this was before.
Hold on. Inflation at 1.3 million %. How do you get 1 million %? I ain't never seen that. What's 1 million %? That's crazy. 1.3 million percentage points more than what inflation. Hold on. Let me move somewhere real quick. This guy did a really good job with the video. We understand how crazy Maduro has been for Venezuela. 1.3 million % in inflation. You're talking about the economy just taking an L like nobody's business. The guy was corrupt as F, doing fake elections. And I think a lot of the reason why we came in and took him in right before the midterm is because they had something to do with our election. I'll leave it for the naysayers. But let's play some ignorant Americans like Tucker Carlson, for instance. Put that fool on the screen. Now, knowing what you just heard, hold on. Let me set this up for y'all. Knowing what you just heard a little bit of, let's go back to the young man. Let him explain a little more. And then we're going to come back to this fool. I just want you to keep it in your memory bank because we're going to go back to Tucker and you'll realize how stupid what Tucker said is. Let's play the clip.
And this was before the US sanctions hit. And it got much worse in the decade that followed. Their GDP shrank by about 75%, which is one of the largest contractions ever for a non-war country. They saw widespread poverty, malnutrition, severe shortages of food, medicine, and essential services, political repression. I mean, the list goes on. Venezuela is not poor today because it lacks resources, people, or skills. It's poor because its institutions collapsed. But here's the distinction. The vast majority of 2025 polls show that Venezuelans outside of the country support military intervention, while those still living there don't. Then again, Venezuela did recently pass a law declaring anyone who expresses support for US military action a traitor. So that could have skewed the results slightly. But it's not just their location that split opinion. When pollers across Latin America were split into their political ideology, 79% on the right said that US military action was the best way to topple the Maduro regime, while less than 4% on the left said the same. The left said that diplomatic negotiations or social protests were the way to go. And that's where America comes in, because the biggest divide there is politics. While the first polls following Maduro's capture suggest that 41% oppose and 34% support, when you switch to the voters' politics, you'll see something very similar to those in Latin America. I mean, there's even protests breaking out in cities like New York with signs reading "No blood for oil." So why are Americans angry? Well, to put it bluntly, their country doesn't have the best track record for regime changes. And many Americans today still live with the memories of the devastating consequences those have caused in places like Cuba.
We'll let you guys watch the rest of that. He's talking about regime change, which Donald Trump had nothing to do with, by the way. But let's get on over to Tucker. Now, you heard some of the statistical data points of how effed up Maduro has caused this country to be. But listen to this milquetoast. I think he retarded. I think Tucker Carlson is officially retarded at this point. I ain't never seen nothing like this in my life, bro. I'm not even trying to be funny or nothing. This dude then fell off so bad, and he didn't went so crazy that it's mind-blowing to me. I don't know if he's doing coke. Like who is this guy? What is he doing? But here's an example. In case some of y'all are mad at me for talking about Tucker, listen to what he said, and you tell me if this makes sense or not. Roll the clip.
So the question is why? Why are we doing this? Why are we so opposed to Nicolás Maduro? So if you ask someone on the street, random person, why are we against Nicolás Maduro? The answer you're going to get is, who's Nicolás Maduro? But if you find someone in South Florida, for example, who knows who Nicolás Maduro is, who can identify where Venezuela is on a map, that person will almost certainly say, well, because he's a communist or a socialist. He's exceedingly left-wing, and that is true. Nicolás Maduro and his government are very left-wing on economics. Not on social policy, by the way, which is kind of interesting. In Venezuela, gay marriage is banned, abortion is banned, sex changes for transgenderism are banned. It's one of the very few countries in the entire hemisphere with those policies. It is on social policy, not defending the regime, just saying, one of the most conservative countries in North or South or Central America. Only El Salvador really comes close, which is much smaller, of course. And by the way, the U.S.-backed opposition leader who would take Maduro's place if he were taken out is, of course, pretty eager to get gay marriage in Venezuela.
All right.
So to those of you who thought that...
It's these old weird fake Christians that bother the sugar honey iced tea out of me. Who gives a if they ban that stuff if your country is dead? What are you talking about? Listen, let me tell y'all something. I'm sick of the fake faux Christian theology. If gay marriage is allowed in America, to be honest, who cares if you're a Christian, because you don't need to participate. If abortion is legal in America, of course we want it to stop, but you don't have to have an abortion. What are we saying? If pornography is legal in America, you don't have to watch porn. What are we saying here? We act like it's just so stupid to me. I'd rather for it to be legal and I have a decision and a choice to teach my children not to participate and for me not to do it and have a country than for you to make it illegal and nobody can eat. Who cares if it's illegal if you can't get no food? Ain't nobody thinking about doing nothing nasty anyway because you starving. Inflation went up 1.3 million%. I ain't never in my life heard a percentage like that. But they're socially conservative. No, it's a dictatorship. Maduro doing all the stuff he want to do. You can't do it. They don't have the freedom of speech. But Tucker, because he hates Jews and he essentially hate America, he will find any reason to argue against what Donald Trump is doing. Talk about regime change. All right. Put Marjorie Taylor Greene on there too, because I was gonna let her go. But look at what this cuckoo head is saying. It's only the Jew-hating cuckoo heads that seem to have a bad take on all of this stuff. You name it. Find a person that hates Jews, and they out here talking stupid about Venezuela. It's okay to have a debate about it. The constitutionality of it. Let's have that discussion. But to flat out be a fool it's just unacceptable. Put her on the screen. Let her play a clip.
And that's what Americans are absolutely sick and tired of. That was part of what they voted for in 2024. They voted to tear down the system that protects the rich, powerful elites. They voted to tear down the system that consistently goes for foreign wars and regime change. They voted to tear down the system that does nothing.
Foreign war. We're not in a foreign war. You dumb cuckoo heads. I want to call her another word, but I really want to be respectful. I'm trying to be a good Christian. Y'all pray for me. You ignorant folk just out here talking stupid. Iran, we're going to get the war in Iran. Donald Trump, we didn't even vote for this. We didn't get in a war. We're going to war with Venezuela. I don't even know why Trump is regime change. What are you talking about? It's just stupid people talking points. We're not in no war with no Venezuela. It'd never be a war. That's like a grown man fighting a 3-year-old. That's not a fight. That's a knockdown drag out. But they got to steal because they hate Jews. And they mind warped on everything else they think about. Let her finish real quick and then we go.
For regular, hardworking Americans and only consistently props up the big banks, the military-industrial complex, and the oil executives and major industries. And, you know, you want to know something? After this regime change in Venezuela, I fear that we're going to see jobs just move south because we're already hearing about big corporations lining up their trips to Venezuela.
All right, enough of this broad. And the reason I call her that is because she had the nerve to get on TV and say this when, look at her investment portfolio. She's investing in these big companies. Look at her investment portfolio. It's not just American companies. Look at her net worth when she first came to Congress, and now she worth like $30 million. She started at $700,000. Well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why are you lying to people? Why are you up here grandstanding, acting like you for the big people and not the big government? Woman, you a top earner now. When you weren't when you first got there. So how did you turn into a multimillionaire? They fake. They're liars. They're evil. Even the Republicans. All right. Let me get out my soapbox.